You know that moment when you're scrolling through used car listings at midnight, coffee going cold beside the keyboard, and you spot a gorgeous luxury badge sitting comfortably below your budget because, well, the factory warranty just kissed it goodbye? It's the automotive equivalent of swiping right on who's stunning, but carries a little baggage. You're intrigued, but in the back of your mind, a tiny voice is whispering, "Are you sure you're ready for those repair bills?" Tonight, let's silence that voice. Because hidden among the usual suspects that will happily bleed your bank account dry are a handful of genuinely trustworthy thoroughbreds. Cars and SUVs engineered so well they keep doling out first-class comfort long after the paperwork says you're on your own. Picture yourself first behind the wheel of a Lexus GX 460. The kids are in back, the dog's drooling on the cargo mat, and snow is swirling across the windshield, but you're completely unfazed. The GX rides a rugged body-on-frame chassis borrowed from Toyota's global Land Cruiser Prado, which means it'll crawl steep trails all Saturday and still waft you to brunch on Sunday. Under the hood, a naturally aspirated 4.6-liter V8 hums with the lazy confidence only over-engineered Japanese iron can project. Give it oil, filters, and the occasional timing belt service, and it'll basically outlive your house. True, the infotainment screen feels like it was designed back when flip phones still snapped shut with a satisfying click, and recent model years have seen the odd stability control light pop up, but Lexus already has TSBs in the pipeline. Meanwhile, you roll on, cocooned in thick leather, real wood, and the smug knowledge that Range Rover owners keep a rental car agency on speed dial while you're planning your next road trip. Swap that tank for something a little more lithe, and you find yourself sliding into the sculpted driver's seat of a BMW 340i, or, if you fancy a coupe silhouette, a 440i. The cabin smells faintly of rich leather and brushed aluminum, and the digital cluster flares to life with a blue-white glow. Up ahead, the highway opens. You prod the throttle, and the B58 inline-six spools into its deep, buttery song. Forget the fragile stereotypes that haunt older turbo BMWs. This engine is the mechanical equivalent of a Swiss watch built out of tool steel. Forged crank, closed-deck block, air-to-water intercooler, integrated right into the intake manifold, tech talk that basically translates to, "I'm gonna shrug off 300,000 miles and ask for seconds." Sure, one day a tiny weep of oil might appear at the valve cover gasket, or the water pump will decide it's done circulating coolant. But compared with the drama of the old N54 or N55 motors, that's child's play. Best part, you can click the drive mode toggle from Comfort to Sport Plus and watch the whole character change. Snick-snack 8-speed shifts, a muted snarl from the exhaust, and the sort of lateral grip that turns freeway on-ramps into miniature Nürburgrings. Who says you can't have thrills and peace of mind in the same garage? Now, speaking of thrills, let's address the elephant, or rather the thoroughbred, in the room, the Porsche Cayenne. Plenty of SUVs chase the sports car on stilts fantasy. The Cayenne simply woke up and chose to live it. You crest a mountain pass, flick the steering, and the front end tucks in like a hot hatch, not a 2-ton family hauler. Yet reliability? It's there, hiding underneath the 21-inch wheels and optional carbon brakes. Focus on the second-generation internal code 92A with its 3.6-liter VR6 or the glorious 4.8-liter naturally aspirated V8. Both engines are stout, especially if you stay on schedule with fluids and filters. Yes, scheduled maintenance at a Porsche dealership hits harder than happy hour at the corner lube shop. Nobody's sugarcoating that. But catastrophic failures are genuinely rare. Meanwhile, the cockpit wraps around you like a fighter jet. High transmission tunnel, wide center console peppered with toggles, and a tack needle that never stops tempting you to downshift. Bonus: fold the rear seats, and you've got space for flat-packed furniture, mountain bikes, or a week's worth of camping gear. It's a practical Porsche, and that phrase alone used to be an oxymoron. Maybe, though, your taste leans towards serenity rather than corner carving. Cue the Lexus RX 350, the world's most persuasive argument for set it and forget it. Slide in, shut the door, and the outside world quiets to a hush. There's no turbo lag, no supercharger whine, just a 3.5-liter V6 spinning silkily beneath the hood. Critics say it's about as exciting as herbal tea, but they miss the point. Owning an RX means never canceling vacation plans to pay for a surprise repair. The biggest complaint in owner forums? That remote touch mouse interface in the center console, which, let's be honest, tries to guide a cursor across the screen like you're balancing marbles on a spoon. If that's the price of bulletproof motoring, many folks will pay it gladly. These SUVs frequently breach 200,000 miles wearing nothing but their original spark plugs and a smug grin. But maybe you crave something less vanilla, more espresso. Enter the Audi S4, specifically the 2012-2016 B8.5 facelift. Crack open the driver's door, and you're greeted by quilted leather, brushed aluminum, and that thick-rimmed steering wheel. Audi does better than almost anyone. Twist the key or push the button, your choice, and a 3.0-liter supercharged V6 whirs to life. It's eager, urgent, but crucially, it's also proven. Earlier V8 S4s sounded glorious but chewed timing chain tensioners for breakfast. This six-cylinder and its second-gen DSG gearbox form a powertrain that cab drivers in Germany have flogged past 250k miles with little more than fluid changes. On a wet back road, the Quattro system claws for grip like a cat scrambling up drapes. And in winter, it turns you into the unofficial snow day rescue squad. Yet you still slide under the radar because, to most onlookers, it's just an A4, stealth wealth at its finest. And stealth brings us inevitably to the icon, the Porsche 911, Generation 991. By now, Porsche has spent more than 6 decades perfecting the concept of a rear-engine sports car, ironing out quirks that once left early adopters white-knuckled in the rain. The 991 benefits from all that institutional knowledge, a stiffer chassis, modern electronics, and flat-six powertrains that run and run so long as you honor the maintenance schedule. True, replacing spark plugs involves a yoga pose and a special swivel socket. And yes, big services will cost what lesser mortals might call a vacation. But ask any longtime owner and they'll tell you, keep fluids fresh, avoid launch control abuse on a stone-cold engine, and the 9111 will tackle daily traffic, track day red lines, and cross-country marathons without flinching. You can drop the kids at school, tiny humans fit in those rear jump seats, promise, then chase apexes in the afternoon, confident the car will still feel tight 10 years on. That's rarefied air, Ferrari charisma with Toyota-like dependability. Family duties calling again? Slide over to Acura's MDX, the stealth bomber of 3-row luxury SUVs. From the outside, it looks tastefully understated, but pop the hood and there's Honda's evergreen 3.5-liter J-Series V6 waiting to earn another reliability ribbon. Belt-driven cams mean you will need timing belt swaps roughly every 100k, and valves like an occasional adjustment. Yet those jobs are straightforward by luxury car standards. Knock them out on schedule, and these things march well past 300,000 miles. Inside, the MDX ticks just about every box: supportive seats, ultra-low wind noise, and a super handling odds system that vectors torque in ways physics professors use as teachable moments. Owners rave about keeping theirs 15 years or more, teenagers inherit them when college beckons, and they're still running strong at graduation. Suppose, though, you prefer Audi's crisp design language but need taller ride height. The answer is the Q5. Better yet, the SQ5 if your right foot tends to wander. Just promise you'll choose the 3.0-liter supercharged V6. The base 2.0-liter turbo is fine new, but once miles pile up, it can guzzle oil like it's sipping an espresso shot every 100 miles, and turbos cooked by high EGTs aren't cheap. The V6 sidesteps most of that drama. Combine that stout motor with Quattro, and winter trips to the ski lodge become effortless. Cabin materials are pure Audi, knurled switchgear, soft-touch plastics, real aluminum trim. Even the rear seats recline, a small generosity your passengers notice on long drives. Maintenance? Outside of the occasional PCV or water pump replacement, these SUVs ask for little except oil, coolant, and the occasional brake job. And because they're compact, they feel nimble in city traffic. No suburban tank vibes here. Stick with Bavaria, but scale back the drama further and you land on the BMW X5, current generation G05, launched for 2019. Earlier X5s were notorious for eating air suspension bags and leaking coolant into nooks you didn't know existed. The G05 with the B58-6 rewrites that narrative. Engineers finally nailed the balance. Adaptive dampers that switch from lounge chair to canyon carver at the push of a button, a 12.3-inch iDrive screen that actually makes sense, and quality control that's finally on par with the sticker price. Consumer Reports even pinned it to the top of their luxury SUV rankings, a sentence that would have made die-hard Lexus owners spit out their espresso a decade ago. As depreciation pushes lightly used examples into the $30,000 sweet spot, they're shaping up as the thinking person's choice, dynamic, comfortable, with a drivetrain you don't fear once the odometer sneaks past 80K. But maybe, just maybe, you're a sedan traditionalist. Leather, walnut, silent doors that thunk shut like vaults, luxury in its classic three-box form. Wander no further than the Mercedes-Benz EClass, chassis code W212. Built after Stuttgart severed its short-lived marriage with Chrysler, the W212 was Mercedes saying, "We remember how to build indestructible taxis, and oh yes, we still know how to pamper executives." Engines range from the evergreen 3.5-liter V6 to torque-rich diesels, and even a twin-turbo V8 hammering away in the AMG variant. But pick almost any of them, and you're getting power plants designed for 500,000 kilometers of Autobahn duty. Early air suspension struts sometimes lose pressure, and the odd window regulator will call it quits. Yet parts are plentiful, and independent specialists keep repair bills civilized. Meanwhile, the cabin resists squeaks and rattles years longer than its predecessor, and corrosion protection is light years ahead of the 1990s rust scandals. Drive one through a congested city, watch pedestrians reflect in the shimmering hood star, and realize you might never need to trade up again. So that's our grand tour, 10 machines across 2 continents, each engineered so carefully they flip the script on used luxury paranoia. From the rock-solid Lexus GX that treats boulders like cobblestones, to the Porsche 911 that laughs in the face of 8,000 RPM redlines, these vehicles prove that out of warranty doesn't have to mean out of luck. It simply means you get to pocket the depreciation and keep the luxury. Pick the one that fits your lifestyle. Canyon sprints, Costco runs, cross-country escapades, and take the plunge. Because great engineering doesn't expire when the warranty does. It just keeps rolling, mile after confident mile, long after lesser rides have tapped out.